Yes, team, what is up? I am excited for this one. New YouTube series, and this is something I've wanted to do for a while. We're documenting a client starting with me from day one until a huge milestone in their business. So we're documenting a 6-month process from day one and seeing all the highs and lows that go through the process. On social media, on YouTube, usually you already see the milestones being hit and they're talking about their success story and what's going to happen next. That's not this. I don't know what's going to happen over the next 6 months, but I know you're going to join me to see how we can help Sean build one of the biggest fitness businesses in the industry. Hi, Sean. What's up, my man? Okay, so what we'll do today, we're going to go through essentially the 4 Bs, and that's going to be getting kind of like baseline of where the business is now. You talk me through like what do you feel are the bottlenecks. Sometimes you might actually not have clarity on that, and I might discover it from what we're saying, which is overall for us to talk through what's happening. Then what I like to do for you initially is kind of like zoom out and give you like a big picture of what I'm thinking. That will take time for us to work on. So then we go down to more specific breakdown of like, okay, what's actually most important now? I think where people can go wrong is just talk you through a big picture and then you leave here being like, it sounds exciting, but I'm not really like clear on what to do. So we'll make sure you're like very, very clear on exactly what to do.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
Sound good? Okay, cool. So just if we talk baseline for a minute, can you just give me a rundown of business right now? Even if you just kind of give me the last 12 months and a bit of a summary in terms of what you feel like day to day your work kind of consists of, and just give me like an overall rundown of things.
The past 12 months have been like the exact same.
Okay.
There's been no real movement, but again, that was just like, I felt like I was just at this glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Because I was back home.
Yeah.
I was making enough money that it was covering my bills. I was comfortable. And back home, I was probably like viewed as doing well.
Yeah.
And there was nothing pushing me to want to grow more, to want to scale more. Do you know what I mean? It was just like I was comfortable. I was making enough money. I was not working that many hours. It didn't feel like. So ultimately, I didn't feel like I needed to scale that much more. And then coming out here, I've just obviously wanted to scale more. And the thought is, when I start thinking about, I want to scale, is like, right, more and more clients, but then I'm going to be working more and more. Like, I want to get to a point where I can work less but make more money. That's the point I want to get to, do you know what I mean? But then when I start thinking about it, like, and I feel like I never even actually have the mental capacity to ever think about scaling, because you're just constantly in coach mode. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're never in like business mode. I'm never spending any time working on the business. Yeah. Because I'm just in the business all the time. So I feel like I've just been working in the business for the past 12 months and not spent any time on it. Yeah. If that makes sense.
100%. Interesting what you said around kind of like work versus income. So I was actually talking to a coach the other day, and they're kind of around 4 or 5K mark, and they said to me, geez, you must work so much, because they deemed where I was versus where they were working a lot. So they saw where I was and they're like, fuck you, if I'm working a lot, you must be working so much. Yeah. And I was like, no, you're actually probably working more than me. Like, we discussed kind of like leverage over time as 1. 2, it's obviously knowing what you need to be doing. 3, it's actually having like clear boundaries and being able to set that up. But also I think there's like a period of time, which we may be in for a small portion, which is we're working hard to get you to position to have more freedom, if that makes sense. Yeah. So sometimes we're in that like crossroads. Like, even one of my clients, Ollie, he came to me doing like £8,000, went on to do a 50K a month just at the end of the year. And him going from like 8K to 20K, he was actually like, it was a lot, because we were in a position where we weren't like wanting to scale the team massively. He kind of wanted to get him there himself. But then from the 20 to the 50K, he had actually a lot more time back. We had like 2 coaches in place, full-time setter. So you'll notice there's like different chapters. And I suppose something that I'm a firm believer is, I want you, number 1, to make a lot of profit, be able to grow from a place of like abundance and not stress. Yeah. And what I wouldn't want for you is because an easy thing for me to say today is like, hey, I want us to hire X, Y, Z, get all these people in, and then you could be stressed by looking at like outgoings and expenses in the business. So it's having a short-term plan to build cash flow, build momentum, and then be able to set the business up correctly.
That's as well, like, I want it to actually feel like a business. Right now it doesn't feel like a business. It just feels like something I've flung together,
Mhm.
and I'm just kind of controlling it a wee bit and managing it as best I can. But it's obviously a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
So I want it to actually, like, aside from like income and everything else, there is a bit of me that wants to feel like a bit of a boss. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think the thought of like hiring right now, like hiring another coach, like that's more responsibility. And but again, it's just pushing past that comfort that I've been used to for the past 12 months.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think the thought of like hiring, I think I just need to like understand it a bit more and then do it. And then once I've done it and understood it and went through the process, then I can do it hopefully again and again and continue to hopefully scale more.
100%.
You know?
And that's even what we'll like build out. So something just quickly on like training, hiring. If we initially like have a training process in place, but like we record, let's say if you had one coach you were hiring, you record that whole process of doing it. So then it almost becomes a course that like more coaches coming into your business can like go through.
Yeah.
So then it's like less time for you.
Yeah.
So that initial time will be like a build out, but then you'll have something where if the coach leaves or if you need a second one, it's more of like a plug and play system. So comfort's an interesting one, but definitely get it. And I also think what you're saying about being as busy as you are in the business, there's comfort, but there's also, it's not like you're comfortable and lazy or things are quiet. You're comfortable and things are busy, but you also know you're not like at your potential. So it's like a weird...
Yeah. It's you hit the nail on the head there. It's like when I see, like say you post a coach that's making 50 grand per month.
Yeah.
I would be like, they must have about 700 clients.
Yeah.
Because I do the calculations and I'm like, if I was to be making 50 grand a month, I would need about 350 clients.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just actually breaking down like how that actually is even possible. Because I think that's just how small I've probably been thinking. It's like, that's in my head. Well, it is starting to become a lot more clear now, but before it just wasn't even, it wasn't even plausible in my head.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%. So just on that, coaching, I think it's 197, your monthly.
Yeah.
Do you have most clients on monthly?
Yeah, most of them,
Most of them.
And like it would be, see the reason why I like upfront, because I get the upfront payment, but like I said, majority, I mean, I don't do sales calls, so it is hard I get the odd person who like, I've just chatted to them well enough, voice noted them, built up enough trust, and I'm still able to sell them up front. But then I always like, this is the way it's worked for the past 12 months, so I will get to a point where I'll have a really busy month. Let's say I've went up to like 40 plus clients, but then I'm mobbed for coaching that month, and say I've picked up like 4 upfront payments, so that's been a big income month. Then the next month I won't get those payments back. My clients will drop off because I'm just that busy. Like you get what I mean? It's like I go through spells where I want to push, I want to make more money, I want to get more clients, I push content more, I get more clients, and then I'm stressed because I'm too busy, and I'm like, no, I don't like this many clients, and then I take my foot off the gas. I drop clients, and then I stress, and it was just like that constant cycle of like gaining clients, dropping clients, gaining clients, dropping clients, and like
so clients up and down and just
really just in and out, man, all the time. And I definitely know for a fact as well I should be charging more, and I think the biggest part of that as well is a bit of like having the confidence to be able to charge more.
Where would you say you lack confidence in that area? I know that might be a hard question, but
see, I'd say it's probably on sales calls.
Yeah.
Like again, I think that's the reason why I don't do it, because even I think it's just something that's always, no matter how much I was charging, it was just always a bit where I could sit in a call for somebody for about an hour telling them how I'm going to change their life, and then I'd be like, just shit.
Yeah. And you know what I mean? Do you think that's almost like from like growing up, was it like money, like a mindset around money?
Yeah, probably. I think I'm just a tight arse, man.
Yeah.
Again, since I've been here, I've felt that starting to slip a lot more.
Okay.
I've just started to build up a lot more belief. I'm worth that. My time is worth that. My support is worth that. And my service is worth that as well.
But that's the thing.
That's the nail on the head. I'd say my money mindset is...
Yeah, maybe easier like said than done, but just like looking back of the last few years that you've been through, what you've been able to do on a personal level, on a coaching level, everything like you've achieved with like Hyrox, like you're an insane athlete and coach. So taking all that together and everything that you've been through, people aren't paying you for X amount of time of coaching. They're paying to get to work alongside you, to have your energy, to have your presence, to have words and guidance from you every single week.
Yeah.
Do you know, when you see it like that, you're like, fucking hell. Like they should be paying me so much more than...
so much more.
So much more than that. And it's also, as you said, you're going to help someone completely change someone's life. We also need to make sure that it makes sense versus that it's like a fair equation there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then even so that's like belief on yourself. But then if we think about it from the perspective of the other person, what I would say, you charging more actually gets them a better result as well. Because they're like, if someone says to you it's expensive, you're like, oh yeah, like I know it is expensive, but like all my best clients thought the same. And that's why they've got the results they have. So it's like, it's not actually shying away from it being a big investment. Like it should be a big investment.
Yeah, I think it's also just the way I package like the offer. Not the offer in itself, like the pricing structure or anything, but just the way I deliver it. Like the way I say it sometimes, because sometimes I'll be like, I'll say the price and then I'll say X, Y, Z to back up. Like, oh mate, is this what you're getting X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
And they're just a bit like, well, like, you know what I mean? I think it's just the way I deliver it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I think if I could like have a better pricing structure and deliver it better to someone, it would give me a lot more confidence just to be able to say it or show it to someone. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, just quickly on that. So recurring rev is around like the 5-ish K.
Yeah.
So would that be
right
fair?
About.
So then what I would say to you in terms of like living, would you say, let's say for instance, there's no new sales in the month. Can lifestyle and business, obviously I know you want to make more money, but can you be looked after here?
Aye, but it would be...
It'd be tough.
Because I live quite a minimal life anyway. Like I don't drink, I don't really go out much, I don't do much.
Yeah.
So I could get away with it, but at the end of the day, I didn't come here to fucking buy, do you know what I mean?
But what I was going to say to you is, if we kind of see this as like, we never want recurring rev to go below this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because what the challenge can be is if we just push high ticket and we do it for like 6 months, and then this like natural churn happens, and then every month feels like a chase.
Yeah.
So I want you to have like kind of like the secure, like feel like, okay, if I'm always here, I'm always going to be okay. Now I can like grow from a place of like abundance, not from a place of scarcity. And I can really, really push things. And then where you mentioned about conviction, that comes in more and more when you start to get like these big upfront and big payments.
Yeah.
So it's like us having that hybrid model between MRR and high ticket.
I'll start building up more confidence in myself to be able to charge more once I actually start seeing that it's coming in.
Yeah.
But I think that everything that I've learned about, because I would honestly say like quite confidently that like when it comes to the business side of things and scaling businesses, and like I'm clueless with that. Like there's certain areas that I'm good at, like coaching and like content and stuff like that. But then when it comes to business, I'm absolutely a dinosaur with it. But I'd say like everything I've learned from like my first mentor and just stuff that I've learned them on was like, the goal was like 5k per month.
Yeah.
And I got there and I was like, I felt I was the top of the food chain. But then obviously everything you've learned to get from 0 to 5k isn't like get you from 5 to 10, 10 to 20.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've learned what I've learned, got to where I've got to, and just chilled there for X amount of time, and now I need to like.
But that's also not like a bad thing, you know. I think taking some time, like you did, like as you said last year, you were quite comfortable, you were chilling. Like, don't also see that, like I could talk to you today and make you feel bad about that, or like that you should have been doing more, but I actually don't think that's the case. I think the biggest thing is that you're here today, you're ready to take it to the next level. You're young, business is a marathon, it's not a sprint. The guys who push too quickly, sometimes they burn out and they don't last at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, you've had a time to be like, okay, I've as you said, you felt for a while like this felt like the top, and you kind of like normalized there. And then you started to see a bigger picture of what's possible, and now you're taking action on what that looks like. Something I say to clients: if you don't ask, you don't get. And sometimes if you give a few different options, and you're not getting the option you want them to pick, just give one option. So, for example, a client might say, just loads of people are picking the monthly, and I was like, just show them the paid in full. So, do you know? So it's almost like that. Or people are like, oh, like I'd never get like a 1,500 or a 2,000 payment or whatever. And it's like, have you ever asked for it? And they're like, no. And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
We have to see. And one of the things we're going through today is Empire Offer, which is going to help you like build out your offer, like you mentioned. But when we get to the pricing page, I would literally just have, let's say, like the one payment. So if it was like 1,500 for 6 months to start with, build confidence there. And then you just want to be silent. You just stop talking. And you see what they say. And then even what you need, like this is what we'll like learn on as well, because sometimes initially when you're a bit nervous doing it, someone might say like, oh, is that paid in full? And your head automatically thinks, oh, he doesn't have the money. So, and you'll be like, oh, no, like it's fine, like we can do this, we can do that.
Yeah.
But you just be like, oh, like usually people paying in full, yeah, how does that sound? And you just like quiet again. Because then
I would be so mad at that.
because then some people, and what I'll get you to do, which I had to do when I remember I was just doing monthly payments for my fitness business and started to learn like high ticket sales. Started with 1,500, and I remember I got up to, at one point, I just remember the time doing it. It was €2,500, and I remember I was fucking shitting it before. But what I did was like put it on a presentation that like I knew was like the next slide.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head before I go into it, I was like, oh, I almost just want to say like a monthly fee or like the old price. But then I just like flicked to the page, and I was like, there's no going back now. So almost you need to like train yourself that way of like,
just to say it.
because if you're talking off the cuff, you'll probably bottle it last second and just like go back to what feels comfortable. So climbs up and down because for a huge amount of workload. Pricing, we need to definitely increase. Working on mindset around money, but I even think what we spoke about today. So main bottlenecks that I get from that is your kind of what we've gone through a bit. One, I suppose, bottleneck of like sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So you don't really know what the next level could look like or look like when you try to do the.
Yeah, honestly, it's like there's so many times like genuinely on a weekly basis for the past year where I've sat down and be like, right, I want to make more money, and I sit down and I'll try to brainstorm and I'll be like, where the fuck do I even go? Do you know what I mean? Apart, like the only thing I'll ever think about is launch a new program, make it sound sexier, do you know what I mean? But then I'm like, the only thing I'm going to get from that is more clients, which means more setups, which means more check-ins. Then I'm going to be in a month's time stressed again and be like, I don't want this many clients, and drop back down to my wee comfortable spot. Do you get what I mean?
Did you try have a coach before? Did you say that to me? Have you had a coach?
What, like mentor?
No, sorry, like a coach helping you with clients.
Well, I had someone actually reach out to me.
Yeah.
And it's actually weird, right? This is really, really weird. And it was as if it was like a sign. One of my clients, I woke up to about 18 messages from him at 4 a.m. this morning, 4 a.m. UK time. And he was like, oh mate, I've just been brainstorming. He says like he like really looks up to me. And he wants to like move to Dubai. That's been his dream forever. And he was writing down a business idea for me. And basically wrote down like an app and all that. And I was like, mate, I've already done that and all that. But it was just good to see like one of my clients has got that much vision. I was like, he could potentially be someone who could come on board at some point if because he's becoming a coach himself.
Yeah.
So it was just weird, like
weird timing.
The timing with that.
Weird timing.
But what was the question anyway? I get sidetracked there.
So you haven't had anyone help you before? It's been on just you?
No, nothing. Like I said, I had someone, like a boy just messaged me and he was like, oh, I'm becoming a coach. He was like, I'd love to work under you. And he kept saying, oh, do you want to jump on a call? He was the one pushing it.
Yeah.
I was just about like, aye mate, yeah. And I was like, I didn't even know how I would. And I think at that point I was a wee bit, like maybe embarrassed. Like I didn't want to show him my systems and that. And be like, what if he's like, oh, is that how you coach people?
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? It was a bit like, again, it was just a bit of like self-belief maybe. But I didn't feel like I was at that stage.
And he was
Well, I knew of him kind of.
Okay.
He was a guy who was in shape. I knew his coach that he'd done like a photo shoot with. It was just a random one. But I never had any hiring, nobody's ever come in.
Okay.
Just me.
Would I get you to think just on that? Like sometimes we don't see ourselves in the way people see us. So sometimes our identity is like, we're like lagging behind it. So like anytime like that, like always have the confidence in terms of how people like look up to you and like the way that they see you, and kind of like own, obviously every time I'm sure like we'll get on to like improving how that looks from a system perspective, but just overall like remember people look up to you in the industry and never feel like they're going to be in a position where they're thinking the way you do something isn't right or whatever. Okay, so client delivery, not knowing what to do, pricing like we spoke about, which we'll get onto. So now an interesting one with your audience. So obviously you have a very big following. Just, I think it was like 51k today, or like 51k is it?
50,
on Instagram?
52, yeah.
52, yeah. Okay, so big following. If I was to ask you with your audience in terms of like how warm they are to you in terms of like, for example, if we had a very good process, like sales process in place, nurturing process in place, Do you think your audience is quite receptive to coaching when you speak about it, or?
I would say I've never really spammed it enough or pushed it enough to be able to really see. Yeah, I would say it's probably a kind of mix, man. I wouldn't say it's going to be like the best, because a lot of my videos are like, people might not even know my coach. It's just like a video of me maybe like cooking or something like that, and they've just followed through that, like, oh, he's funny, they don't know. But again, that's where I should have better branding, like labeling systems, so that when people do click on my page from even just a funny video that isn't fitness related, they see what's happening.
Yeah, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I think it'd be good to go through. Almost kind of seeing it like a content web. So if you see like, this is almost your content. So if people come in and it's kind of like a funny reel video that we have, then they might see a YouTube of yours. Then we might see a client testimonial. Then they might see different YouTube. Then they might get an email from you if we have them opt in. So it's almost like there's no right or wrong. What we need to understand is like, how can we get people to have as much touch points with you as possible? So then I think what's beneficial for you there, I'm not telling you to go away from what you're doing and what you enjoy to do. Like if you find that's like your zone of genius, obviously it's just like, how can we add in that kind of coach authority element alongside it without like losing yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because really interesting study, basically the whole thing around it is kind of like bingers are buyers. So how we can get someone in, they see a funny video of yours, they come in, but then they start binging some of your other content. Like that's when they're going to like build that know, like, and trust with you. Something we'll get onto as well is if we can create a YouTube which is more around your coaching, and we link them from there to there, it's almost like funneling people in. So like that's what
that has been my fault with YouTube as well, because I think I've had 2 people sign up through my YouTube. Like they message me about my YouTube channel, and then I've signed them up. So I've just been thinking, like, that was just through, like, I just clipped in a wee 20-second video of me doing a client setup and just like announced it. I was like, oh, I'm just chilling, I'm just doing a client setup, and I just showed quickly like how I do it. And that was obviously the clip that kind of drew people in. So I was like, I need to just start dropping bombs like that more often. And I think just every bit of content I do, like, I do understand that I can't just keep posting just like funny content and like scale up. You need to have some businessy, salesy content out there. But it's just like, how can I blend it in amongst all the chaos? Do you know what I mean?
100%. So that's another kind of like bottleneck would be kind of content outside of and I suppose more importantly, one that aligns to you, because I think you do that content right now because you enjoy it. If we started giving you shitty scripts to do, you'd kind of lose yourself. More importantly, you wouldn't enjoy it. So it's how we can keep your personality, but also, and it's like one of those things about like, because if you think they come in for the funny video, but then they see all like your training tips and everything there, and obviously they'll be inspired by that, are the people we want as clients will be. So it's like, then how do we add in that kind of like element of like, okay, I can actually help you.
Definitely.
As well.
Definitely.
Okay, big picture. So what I want you to think about when you think about your coaching business, if we divide it into like 3 buckets, so we have leads, we have sales, and we have delivery. So that's essentially how you grow your business. We need leads coming in, we need sales, and we need delivery. So if I was looking at the biggest constraints from you in terms of like, okay, getting to, let's say, our first goal of like 20K months, I agree with you that delivery is the biggest issue. So I think what's important with delivery is it's not dependent necessarily on income level and client numbers. So if I just base it off like, I tell one of my clients to get a coach when they earn this much or they have this many clients, I don't think that's a good way to do it. I think it's listening to you and how you're feeling. And I can kind of see the overwhelm that would be created already. So I'm actually changing what I initially thought. And this is the beauty of kind of like in-person sessions. I thought we'd hold back a bit on getting a coach, but now I'm actually kind of putting it to like doing it straight away. And where I want you to see, where I have full confidence in this being the first thing we do, is you only pay the coach based on the client paying you, so that we're not actually at risk of doing it. So bad advice for me would be, get a coach, we're going to pay them 2K a month, they'll earn 2K up to 50 clients so we can fill them up.
Mm-hmm.
But getting them from like 0 to 20, whatever happens, you know, there can be issues, people wanting to work with you or whatever it may be, you feel like a financial stress there. So that's not how we set it up. We pay the coach per client that they work with. So someone comes in, even put it this way, someone comes in, pays you 1,500 in full,
Mm-hmm.
you pay the coach per month at the end of each month, and only if the person is checking in.
Yeah,
So let's say if we're paying the coach, I'll tell you how in my fitness business, we did €60 per month per client. The initial month we did €80 because we gave a bit more for onboarding. So let's just say like, yeah, 60 pounds. Could do a bit less, could do a bit more. I think 60's around a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
So coaches, you take £1,500 full, coaches a client, end of month one, they voice note you £60. So let's say if they had 3 clients in the first month or first few weeks, they'll essentially invoice you £180. You pay that. So you get the cash up front and you only pay them out in increments.
All right, nice.
And also if you got a 6 month, obviously we want people to stay the whole time, but sometimes people drop off. If someone drops off after 3 months, you wouldn't keep paying them for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're paying them to coach your clients, you're paying them to get results. So this is like a really like safe model. I've had coaches from my fitness business making like over 4K a month, being paid that much. So it is actually fair and they can work up to high income. But the biggest message we need to say at the beginning is this is part-time. This isn't like, I'm not taking you on full-time. And again, you know how you kind of mentioned being nervous about like what they'll think about like systems or how you do things or whatever. Like you completely flip the script and say how we get results here. Like I'm very serious about it, and I will like drip feed you clients based on how you're getting on. And if I feel like you're good enough, you'll get more. Because oftentimes coaches are like, oh, I'm just nervous if I don't fill them up fast enough, or like what they'll be like.
Yeah.
But if you just
I think that's what it's been. It's like, imagine if I was to bring this coach in and I'd be like, oh, you're going to be flat out, and then I'm like, oh, here's one client, and then, like, do you know what I mean? I think that's what I've always been worried about. It's like bringing somebody in and then like they don't get any clients.
Yeah. Well, 2 things. One, you're not pushing like lead gen and sales as much because you know you can't handle that much volume.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a completely different mental frame when someone's empty. So if he has an empty diary, like imagine that drive it gives you, and then you sign someone up and you just pass them to your coach.
Yeah.
You're like, I just made money and it's going to take none of my time, which will be like the first time it happens, and then that gets a bit addictive, and then you're like, hey, that's really...
Because it's just essentially more spaces, isn't it? Because even when I just came here, like it wasn't mad busy, but I think it just felt more busy because I'd just moved as well. But I think I signed up like 10 new clients, and then see, as soon as the 10 of them had paid me, I didn't even want to look at my inquiry.
Really?
I was just a bit like, no man, I literally don't want another single client right now. It was like, but then imagine if I did have that other coach who needed 20 new clients, I'd be like, right, come on in. Like,
100%. 100%. Yeah, it changes things completely for you. And just on that note, for you well, this kind of goes into sales, but I'll put under delivery. Like if we kind of say like for you, 40 clients is kind of like your max, let's say. And even if it's a bit less, like you just keep increasing your prices. And this is also where you're going to have more conviction having a coach here, because previously it's when you're just selling for you versus when you're like, oh look, you can work with my coach and it's, you know, 1,200 for 6 months, or if you want to work with me, it's like 2K for 6 months. All of a sudden it puts you in this like if you want to work, like I'm still involved with this, I have like meetings with my coach every day, but if you want to work directly with me, they have access to work with you, but it's at a very high number. So now you could double, triple your revenue if we just kept your client numbers the same and kept you the same. And then we had a coach in to really drive that up.
Definitely had a better way for me to really sell it. Because that's one thing I've kind of been saying to people, even though obviously my prices aren't ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And I just say to them, like, look, it makes no odds to me if you signed up for the cheaper one, you didn't sign up, or if you do sign up, really, because at the end of the day, this is benefiting you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's you that's getting the benefit of this. You're going to get results. You're going to change your life. So it's, again, just a good way to kind of package it, isn't it? Like, you can come with me, you can come with him, makes no odds. Like, it's...
Yeah. So then what I would say too, just have one offer.
Yeah.
All those kind of things, I wouldn't even like get confused with the other aspects. Like if we, like you've even kind of seen already that selling low ticket is just painful, takes a lot of time, doesn't seem a huge difference. So for me, one person could look at your following and what you have and be like, let's just like really push low ticket. The way I see it is, let's build a team of coaches, let's sell high ticket, and you'll fucking crush it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know? It just makes so much more sense, and it's
I think
way more scalable.
There's a level, like a really big level, where low ticket would just fucking boom.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think that's again what kind of humbled me a wee bit. I mean, I thought I was a bit bigger than I was, and I thought that when I was going to launch that app, that it was just going to, it was me retiring after that. But again, I've tried it and just realised that it's not the...
Yeah.
Because again, it still didn't feel like it. I think it was just like, I was wanting it to be the easy road out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was thinking, because see if that app did take off, I would do nothing. I would literally wouldn't have to do anything and I'd be making money. So at the end of the day, I'm kind of happy that it didn't work out because I feel like I also need to be busy.
Yeah,
like,
that's the thing.
I wouldn't want to make all sorts of money and have nothing to do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I said to me, a big part of it, aside from the income, is I want to feel like the boss. You know what I mean? I want to feel like I've built a brand that like I've built and I'm in control of, and I know what's going on. I know the numbers. I know the metrics. Because right now, I genuinely, like, I answered in your form. I don't know how many leads are coming in. I wouldn't be able to find it out through going onto the system and looking. But again, I just don't know. I'm just like, oh, there's an inquiry. Talk to them. Like, sign up. Cheers. Yeah, it's just the way it's kind of been going. So I want to feel like.
Yeah. So you like the idea of kind of like having a team and.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. Okay.
Like, I think I've always wanted that, but I've just not wanted to do the work to get there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So one offer, sales calls. I definitely think things with sales calls, we could definitely do an offer doc for what I would see as like a plan B. So you might see on social media now a lot of people are talking about like offer docs and selling. I just think it's definitely niche dependent. So I think you being in fitness, sales calls is valuable. For when we're working B2C with a consumer, we also know sometimes these are people who've like kicked the can down the road for a few years. Yeah. For us to like stop their kind of procrastination, I feel like being on a call, you just make more, a lot more money, a lot more conversions. So one offer, sales calls, pricing will change to high ticket. So that's kind of everything from a sales perspective. Then, interesting question for you. If you were to guess your last 10 customers who signed up, where would they, you mentioned inquiry form there. Is that pretty much where everyone signs up?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And is that in your bio?
Yeah.
Just like form and bio?
That's it.
And then you just reach out?
That's it. Well, there is an automation, but I don't think very many people go through it. So it normally sends them an email. And it's like, it'll have a video, kind of a Loom video breakdown of like kind of what's involved, how it all works. And then there's a link for like my WhatsApp. So sometimes it's like they reach out to me and they're like, oh mate, filled out your form, got your email, and then that's it. I know they're kind of ready to go. Yeah. But majority of the time it's just me kind of, I'll get a notification saying someone's filled out the form and then I just chat to them on WhatsApp voice notes. And
do you send any DMs?
Nah, I've never done that.
Never done
that, but I'm not against it. Do you know what I mean? I've just never... And again, I didn't really know how it all works. Like again, that's the thing with like appointment setters. Like before, I thought it was just like when I heard people sending like 200 DMs a day and all, I was like, how are you just sitting DMing 200 people? Like,
I know.
I just didn't know how it all worked. I just never really looked into it. I didn't really know much about it, to be honest.
Cool. So like, I think DMs can get like a bad rap for, you know, because I feel like people can like butcher them. The way I get you to see DMs is literally just having conversations with people in your audience. Yeah. And you won't believe, you can send me the first time it happens because it's going to happen. Someone just saying, oh, it's just about to reach out to you, or it's just about to inquire.
I was going to say that. I think a lot of people want you to message them. Yeah. Like, they don't want to fill out your form. Yeah. I think maybe they get halfway through your form and then they'll just like get distracted. Like, 100%. You know what I mean? Like, people probably want to work with you, but they'll just like not doing anything about it. They'll just, but then you just reaching out to them probably just
prompts it.
Sparks something, yeah.
100%. Like even I...
Definitely right.
I met a potential client for coffee on Friday and I messaged her at the beginning of January and she's like, oh, I was actually meaning to message you, been interested to work with you for a while. But like that it could have been like May till she ended up.
Well, it's kind of the same with me, like as well.
Yeah.
Do you know, I always kind of knew I was going to sign up with you.
Yeah.
But that's like, I'm actually the perfect example of it. I feel like I always knew I was going to sign up with you, but I just didn't know when.
Yeah,
I was just kind of waiting for like
something
you
that
to
happened.
message me to like, here, sign up, or wait until I got here. So I think I always kind of knew it was going to happen, but
Yeah.
because again, that's probably the power. You planted that conversation in my head, and I've just it's just always been there. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Okay, so just in terms of like, good question around like setter and what to do from that perspective. So this is kind of like the interesting part. You're in a business where we want to increase revenue and not really increase expenses for the time being, or like not massively. So definitely the future goal is to get like a full-time setter in, like you mentioned. What I would recommend for the beginning, and this again, you can kind of tell me how you feel about it, if you feel like you would do it and could do it. I want you to get good at this first, but we can get someone to do the initial outbounds. So the way I guess you think about it is we can get a VA in, because it's a low skill task, to just send that initial outbound. We'll start low as well, like 200 and stuff is like I'd be like, let's start at like 30, 40, 50, around that mark. And then you just manage the replies.
Yeah, so they just send the first message, and then if they reply, then I chat with them.
Exactly.
Right, I get that. I'd definitely like that, yeah.
Yeah, so then what we'll do is like in your primary folder, you'll have like friends, clients, whatever. In general is them sending DMs. And then because I'd be just, like, I'm terrible. I do the DMs, the replies, but I don't send initial outbound unless there was someone I was like speaking to or whatever, because I just wouldn't do it. Like I just like, it wouldn't end up being a non-negotiable for me. So again, for you, I think if you're busy enough, if you're not used to doing DMs, sending that initial 30, you might like overthink whatever. Let's just get someone in, send that, a VA, and you do the replies. So you're just on for that. You get good at it, know how to do it, see what it's like, see what your audience is like. So then when a setter does come in full time, you'll kind of know how they're performing. Because you could say to me, like, they're not booking calls, but like, I don't know, should they be? But let's say if you were doing all the replies and you were booking like X amount of calls a week.
Yeah, you can compare it.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, I was booking like an average of like 2 a day, for example, and they're only booking like 2 in the week. So like there's an issue there, and you can like work on training them in. So I always think you getting good at something before hiring someone is a really valuable thing with business. Also, what we have in place for you is we basically have like a custom GBT. So I've built out a custom GBT, which is essentially like a setter for you. So what this will do, especially when you're learning, I've essentially trained it to like know where it's at in the conversation and help you move forward. So you can take a screenshot of the DM, put it into the custom GBT that we have, and say, what question should I ask next? They're not ready to be booked in for a call, but I'm not sure where to go with it, for example. And then they'll give you an example of like the message and a bit of rationale behind it.
Nice.
So it'll be good for you from that perspective. So that will be a big thing for us. Then, like I said, from a content perspective, YouTube, I think it's just adding in I have like 2 main videos I will want you to do in probably one this month, one next month, one on your origin story. So it kind of like talks through your story. So I have a full way of mapping that out. And then what we call the Video Influence Blueprint, which is essentially helping you. So kind of going back to the offer, this is essentially your offer, like the promise that you help people achieve, and then you breaking down how you do it and what like the poison is in the industry. So as you like, usually people in the industry will say this or say that, but this is like the way to do it.
Yep.
Have you ever thought about that from like with your coaching? If I said like, are you kind of clear on what you help people with? Would you say like, oh, to be honest, like I would just think of basic of fat loss, or would you have a bit more of a?
No, I would say definitely recently I have a lot more of a kind of clearer picture, because obviously I've had a kind of massive transition with like bodybuilding to the type of training I'm doing now. Like that's where my passion lies now, do you know what I mean? So ultimately I want to help guys who are like me. Their training's boring them, their routine's boring them. So I would say I'm definitely a lot clearer. I've actually got a script of like a video. I'll send you like the screenshot of it. And it was essentially like a video I kind of planned to do when I got here, and I've just not filmed it.
Haven't done it.
But it was kind of targeted around like who I want to help now going forward. So I'll send you across like kind of what I had.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so that's kind of like, does that like make sense? Like zoom,
absolutely, mate. Yeah.
Zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get into like more specifics with the actual breakdown, just to kind of like talk you through, the other angle you could lean on is like, obviously because you're in great shape as well, like it could be that mix.
Living like an athlete as well. Like it doesn't mean you need to be doing a high rocks or doing a half marathon, but like living like that.
Yeah.
Feeling fit. And I would say like really, I think I work better with like older guys sometimes.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As much
Why
as
do you think that?
I don't know. I just feel like I just communicate with them a bit better. And do you want to know the type of guys that I think I'll kind of work best with? And this will maybe sound like a bit big-headed or dickish from me, but it's maybe like they'll kind of wish they were me a wee bit.
Yeah.
Because they've maybe got a bit older, they've not took advantage of their health and fitness when they were a bit younger, and then they're a bit like, oh, I want to like be like you a wee bit. So I feel like that's the vibe I always kind of get from like my older clients. Is
interesting.
Like, they want to kind of be like me a wee bit, so I just kind of like even when I'm doing the programming and that, I just kind of do like what I give them what I'm doing. I'm like you can love me, like I'm doing what you're doing, like we're doing this together. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, leading from the front, I think it's really valuable, 100%. Okay, that's sick. Okay, so then if we go like more specific breakdown. So as I mentioned, you like to-do list. So I have a full document for you, which is going to go through like exact to-dos, game plan. So one where we start is just like data tracking. So I know that was a big thing that you put in. So just being like super clear on the numbers. I'll sit down with you in a minute and I'll actually talk you through our data tracking dashboard that we have. But essentially, just to kind of give you a rundown of like what numbers are important. So conversations is what leads to like calls and conversions. So when we mentioned about DMs, conversations is a great way to track. Because if you think about it, when you're relying on inbound inquiries, there's no kind of process there. Do you know, it's kind of like hoping someone inquires. That's essentially what you're doing. So we can get predictability when we start sending DMs, and eventually in the future when we're running ads, because we can kind of know like, okay, if we send 50, for example, if we send 50 messages, so 50 DMs sent, and let's say if 10 people reply, 10 convos, and 2 calls booked, for example, and then you could even have like one sign up. So obviously data can fluctuate, but let's say over the course of the month, we kind of saw that average. So then you'd always know, okay, 50 DMs, we had about like 10 combos going. When we have 10 combos, usually 2 people book in, 1 person signs up. As an example. So then you could be, so let's say if you wanted to like push this, just as an example, we'd be like, hey, let's start sending like double. And it could literally sometimes be as simple as that. Or we could be looking at things when it comes to actual sales call conversion. So let's say, for example, if we were happy with that, so we're like, okay, 50 DMs, 10 conversations, 2 calls booked. I know these are big numbers for now, but just hypothetically speaking. So let's say if it was like 60 calls in the month booked, as an example, then we could see a show up rate for the calls. So SUR show up rate would be, let's just do 50%. So 30 calls taken. So here, this is where advice is specific, and the easy thing is someone telling you, oh, you need to post more content, you need to send DMs. Like Johnny down the road can tell you that, like it's not good advice. Sometimes that might be the right advice. But like in this case, I would say, okay, for example, if we were here and we were doing like 25K a month, whatever, and the next goal was like pushing to 50, I wouldn't be saying, oh, well, let's just start booking more calls. I would be looking at this gap and be like, what we could do is try to get our show up rate to 75%, and now you're going to be taking 45 calls instead of 30. So let's not try book more when there's something clearly here that could be improved. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then we'd be looking at, okay, do we send them a specific YouTube before the call? Does that help them like build know, like, and trust with you?
Yeah, so you can kind of just see what point people are getting stuck at. Or,
Yeah.
Aye, yeah.
Makes sense.
Definitely, yeah.
And then the other aspect, like if we went down, if we look at closing rate, and let's say if closing rate was like 25%, like something low like that, and then only, what's that? That would be like 7.5 clients essentially. Yeah, 7 to 8 clients in the month. I think that's right. So again, that would be, then I'd be like, okay, even though this could be better, this is an even bigger bottleneck. So we'd be looking at like, why aren't people closing? It could be, I could review a sales call and it could be your conviction around the call.
Yeah.
We could come up with something there. So this is exactly what happened for the client Ollie I referenced at the start. He first had a lead issue. He wasn't getting enough calls booked. Then when he started getting calls booked, his closing rate was quite low. So then we worked on that. Then this went really high. Then he was getting loads of sign-ups and delivery was an issue because he's like, fuck, there's so many people coming in. I need to talk.
It's important,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. So
like there's probably is so many like bottlenecks, like areas, but I'm like, I just don't even know where it's coming from. I'm just like, I'm either getting clients that I'm no, like I'm getting inquiries that I'm no, and I'll always just think, oh, was that bad content? And then I make some more bad content and I don't get as many inquiries, or like, you know what I mean? Like this is the kind of data I want and need to be able to see. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know the biggest thing this does? It just gives you clarity. It gives you to see the direction of the business, and actually gives you more. Something you kind of mentioned on is like wanting to feel like more of a business and stuff. Yeah. I think sometimes you could feel like you don't have that because of like lack of clarity, and when you have clarity of like, okay, what should I be focusing on? What needs attention? And you work on that. You're a competitive person, so I think it's more so you not knowing what to do as opposed to not wanting to.
In control.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, when I sit down and I want to have a think about scaling, I'm like, I don't even know how many clients. I'm like, I'll need to sit and count how many clients I've got.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like you just feel so out of control, and it's like, how am I going to scale if I don't even know what's happening?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. So, okay, just would you, if I said we didn't take on a coach till March 1st, let's say, so all of February you're coaching yourself, and I could help you get 15 to 20 clients, are you like, no, fuck that, I'd be way too busy? Are you in a mode?
No, I would still be able to manage it, most definitely, because again, I think that's probably the best spot to get to, is like to get that busy and then be like, right, that's where you can start hiring. See, right now, I don't feel like I'm that busy right now that I'm like, I need.
Okay, fair.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I need another coach. I'm not like absolutely flat out working like an absolute dog. I would say like anywhere upwards of like, I got close to like 50 clients and I was like, I fucking hate this, man. Yeah. Like, this was terrible. But I'm at about 34 clients just now, which is honestly a good spot, man. Like, it genuinely is. So like an extra 10, 15 clients on top of that is like, I would still be able to manage it. Okay. So why I asked you that question, two things. One, the next month, something I want to implement with you is what we call the 30-day cash flow catalyst. So it's essentially a training piece, like a resource that we have, which essentially helps you get like a quick return on investment. So it's essentially getting a lot of like low-hanging fruit in your audience and being able to offer them coaching works. If you see the results on our page, a lot of people get like big wins in the first month. But why I can ask you about that now was, if you think when it comes to like sourcing a coach, training a coach, it will at least take us a month to do. I'm making sure like you wouldn't feel miserable in the process. No, I mean, I like that as well, because like when I signed up with that first mentor, like I was at a point where my social media was kind of growing, and then we kind of launched a couple of wee programs, and then I got a big month like straight away, and I was like, fucking yes, man, I get so much momentum, so much confidence. So I think that's what I need. I just
Yeah.
need that wee fucking confidence.
Yeah, I
first,
agree.
a bit of momentum, and just like that will allow me to just start seeing things better, making better decisions. So I
agree.
definitely agree that's the best move.
Okay, cool. We're in agreement there. So
Yeah.
data tracking, we'll work on 30-day cash flow, Padlet. Then 2 things we do with clients when they come in is basically building out what we call your Empire blueprint and your Empire offer, which is going to be, your blueprint is essentially, if I was to tell you take like one snapshot, like draw something and take a snapshot of like what your coaching looks like in terms of the bottlenecks your clients face, the milestones you help them achieve, your promise, like the dream outcome that they're getting to, and then the coaching frameworks to kind of get them from A to B.
Yep.
I'll just kind of give you like an example of like how we looked at. So if we kind of see this as like a bridge. So what we have here is like the kind of like the North Star of where people get to. That's a very bad start, but you can tell I wasn't good at there. So over here would be bottlenecks. So this is essentially the things that like hold clients back. And then over here is going to be the milestones you help them achieve. And then, so basically if you think about it, you're almost like holding someone's hand to get from one side of the bridge to the other, and to the dream outcome. And then up here is where your kind of coaching frameworks will be there. And this is what's going to help you massively from a delivery perspective scale and take coaches on, is when you actually have, when it's not just like check-ins and kind of dealing with everyone off the cuff, you actually have like a process in place to do it. So to give you an example of that, so like kind of like the coaching pillars, if I was to hire a coach to help me out, one of my pillars in place would be the 30-day cash flow catalyst. So I would say, okay, a new client comes in, on the first call, this is like one thing that we take them through. So now it becomes a more like built out process. So I'm going to show you a visual just to show how I've got a lot of clarity in like who I help and what I help people do. And this will make it make sense for then how we're going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So dream promise I help people get is to like a freedom fitness empire. What usually holds people back from doing it is they feel like they're chasing clients instead of choosing who they work with. They're chaos in the business and they're always on, and they have crickets instead of clients. So that's the bottlenecks that's stopping them building a 50K freedom empire. The milestones I help them get is leads every day, sales every week, and clients who stay for years. So that's like the promise that I have. And then I'll have specific pillars, which you'll see when you're in the coaching process of how I help people do it. So giving you an example, one of the bottlenecks here is crickets instead of clients. A milestone is getting leads in every day and sales in every week. One of the pillars I have is authority amplifier, which essentially helps people get a lot more like leads coming into their ecosystem. So if you can see, that's bottleneck, that's how I help solve it, and that's the outcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so I have a document for you on like building your one, building your one out of that. So that will be kind of next up. So to kind of actually talk you through like why this gives you so much more conviction in your content and on sales calls. Because now when when we think about prices, when you're so fucking clear on that, you have such a unique kind of like problem that you're solving and unique promise that you're helping people achieve. All of a sudden, you're not just competing as another coach. You're very, very adamant on like who you are.
Yeah.
And even if I use, so like giving you a bit of backstory around that, just because it might help you with like inspiration for building yours. Freedom Fitness Empire, 50K Freedom Fitness Empire. For me, I was like, okay, so there's some like business coaches that like help people get from like 0 to 5, 0 to 10. And I've done that, but I wouldn't say like that's where my like zone of genius is. And then there's other people who work with like massive teams and they kind of scale to like, you know, really push like 7, 8 figures a year business, help people get to 7 figures, but like that 8 figures and beyond, where I see some business coaches going. Again, not an area that, one, I'm experienced enough right now, but then 2, not actually an area I don't think I want to delve into.
Yeah.
So then I found like, okay, I love helping people make money, but I also want to help people have like a good life. And for me, like I like enjoying my life, apartment, cars, time off at the weekend. I'm not like work. I like a nice balance, but I do like to make a lot of money. So that's where I was like, okay, Freedom Fitness Empire. I'm like in the middle. I have my own lane where I'm not after huge teams and huge chaos on that side. I'm also not after helping people play small, but I wanted to find this like area. And then that gave me a lot more conviction with my content, with my sales calls, because now I didn't feel like I was competing with other people. I felt like this is very clear for like the people where I'm at. So it's you kind of having that like unlock.
Yeah, I think like to actually go back and unanswer one of the questions I said. See, when I actually said that I think I'm clear on who I want to help.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm crystal clear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I actually need to sit down and because it's like you just said, like with that conviction.
Yeah.
Like I want to actually know exactly who I want to work with, who I want to help, how I'm going to help them.
Yeah.
So that I can literally just have the confidence to charge the amount I want and just sell it well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then once we build out the blueprint, the next step for that is your offer. So blueprint is part one. So I want you kind of see this is like the zoomed out picture of your coaching business. So no one actually, you don't have to like necessarily show that, but that's just for you, and that's going to help you massively with your marketing, with your sales, and with your delivery. So it gives you like a full overview of everything. And then from there, that will give you a lot of clarity in terms of actually us building out your empire offer. So there's like 5 key points to building out an offer that we'll go through. But we want to focus on 1, a clear promise for someone. 2, creating some urgency and scarcity there. So that's something we'll work on. If there's no urgency and scarcity, sometimes people are slow to take action.
Yeah.
If we can sometimes have a form of like risk reversal or guarantee in place, can work really well as well. So not something you like with a guarantee. I'm not someone who's like adamant on putting that in, but it can work quite well if it is something that you wanted to do. Then another big part of offer is like the pricing. So like this might change for us over time. We'll push high ticket at the beginning. We might move to like payment plans or whatever after that. So yeah, this is very much like looking at like kind of zoomed out version of like blueprint offer. And then thirdly, it kind of comes under the same subsection would be your audience matrix. This is now getting very clear on like your audience in terms of speaking to them in a way that like resonates with them. So we have who you want to coach, how you do it, etc. A very good offer to sell them. And then the audience matrix, which is getting very clear. And these 3 things together, when it comes to like commanding your message and who you are, is going to be a game changer too. So I could just tell you, my advice today could have been, I just want you posting some more like educational reels. And then you just like put up a few and you wouldn't be kind of clear or wouldn't really know. If we can get clear on this, it makes such a big difference because then everything changes from your short form content to your YouTube, to the DMs, to sales calls, everything changes. So just to give you an example quickly of like the audience matrix of like what I mean by that, really, really helpful when it comes to content. If we look at this, we have 2 things we want to look at. So we have wants and aspirations. So you can see they're positive and green. And then we have, sorry about the writing, but we have frustrations and fears. So this is where people want to work towards, and this is where people want to get away from. So we want to work towards our wants and aspirations. We want to get away from our frustrations and fears. This is short term. So a want is what you want today. A frustration is what you're feeling today. So you're frustrated because I just don't really know where the business is going. I'm just not clear on my numbers. That's like a frustration you feel. It doesn't feel like a business. Frustration. Fear is I'm nervous in 12 months' time. I might feel the same as I feel now. So that's not something like day to day. The day to day is that feeling of not clarity. The fear is like future. What you want now is maybe more sign up, some high ticket, like that's something that I want. And then the future aspiration is I want a big team, I want to build a brand. So with your content, it's more powerful to talk to people in the short. So a frustration and a want. And why I said this is something that I've had to kind of like train, and I'm still trying to, because I naturally prefer to talk about positives. But the thing that's going to get people to take action the most of the 4 of these is short-term frustrations. For someone to see something, you touched on something, guys kind of buy into me because they see where I am and they kind of are frustrated that they haven't been there. So if that's what we're talking about, that could be a frustration that they're feeling like day to day. And the wants is obviously, taking control of things. So then it's you getting clear on like, okay, once we've like mapped out the blueprint and all that, what are the wants of my audience? what are the aspirations, frustrations, and fears, and then it's knowing in your content what to be speaking about. If we go one deeper, which you'll see I have on the document for you, we have the first layer of like content is like talking about problems that they know they have. So a guy is saying to you, yeah, I'm like really bad time management. Like he doesn't mind saying that. Then we have problems they know they have, but it's unspoken about.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe him not being confident in the bedroom with his missus is something he thinks internally, but he's never said. So then if you can do your content and you're speaking to them on that, they're like, fucking hell. He's like speaking to me in that way. And then sometimes we have our unknown, unspoken about problems, which is problems they don't know that they have. So a great example like that I always use is a lot of people tell me they have a leads problem, and maybe they don't have a leads problem, they actually have a conversion problem. So the leads aren't the issue. The conversion pathway for leads to become clients is the issue. So if I speak about that in my content, that's an unknown, unspoken about problem because they don't even know that's what's wrong, and that's what puts you at like the highest authority.
Yeah, there's so many different angles you could go with that, isn't it?
This is where I kind of like take some, because what you've been used in the past, what you said to me is I got a script and I kind of had to talk about this, and it didn't feel like you didn't enjoy it. But like you can give like personal stories here, and it can be like you talking off the cuff, and you're sharing value, but it's not like
it's not
it's not all like scripted, just like off the cuff, because that's what's going well at the moment is just kind of like off the cuff, you know, speaking, especially with like obviously the rise of AI. Polished and perfect is just becoming so bad.
That's what I've noticed as well with my content is like I've got like a camera and stuff like that, and the best content it does well for me is like when it's filmed on my phone, my front camera. Like, you know, it's just kind of raw and authentic, do you know what I mean? So I'm probably going to always kind of keep that touch going forward and just not make it too fancy and scripted and professional.
So if we so the few things I talked about there, helping you on like our first month, essentially command your message. So that's going to be the goal, that we have things in place that you're very, very clear on your messaging. Then there's two things I want to work on for month one to help you with this from like a content. So this is just going to help you with your content in general. But I don't want to tell you now, okay, I want you to post this many times and do this and do that. We'll get to a cadence that works for you. I just want you working on this. But in the meantime, two valuable things we can be doing. One, that YouTube that I spoke about. So it's essentially like your influence blueprint. Once you go through those steps and you fill this out, I have a custom GBT that's going to help you actually like build it out. But essentially it's taking you through like a 7-rep framework, which will go through your promise, proof that you can get the results, your philosophy in terms of like the way that you think, the poison. So it kind of goes through 7 reps like that. And that video, the beauty of it is, did I send you my 50K?
Yeah.
So that's essentially that.
Is it same as that? Yeah.
Same as that.
Nice.
So it's like that video for me is me selling without selling. So basically, obviously I have a CTA at the end of it, but the goal of it is to give actually value to people. So I'm not saying like, here's how I help my clients. And like, if you want to be a client, it's more so like, I'm going to help you build a 50K freedom fitness empire today, and I'm going to talk you through how to do it. Let's say if your clear promise was like something around, like you said, around like elite lifestyle or hybrid athlete. Imagine if the start of the video is like, I'm going to help you shave 5 minutes off your 10K and get in the best shape of your life. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. And then you start going through like your coaching framework of like, okay, so step 1 is you go through, and this will be built out in your up here, and then you give a client example, and then you're like, oh, like my client Johnny, he started with me doing this, and now he's here. So you're giving people like, this is kind of what you need to do, but you're showing proof of how you do it. And then what's even better is we'll add in like a self-assessment section. So you're like, I want you to self-assess like these different areas where you like rate yourself. So are you red, yellow, green? And you'll give an example. So now what they're doing is, if they're doing a lot of red and yellows, you're almost getting them to be like, oh, fuck it, there's something I need help at. So they're almost like selling themselves through the video, and it gets people from like cold to warm. And I think with your following, something like this will crush, because it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you, builds trust, gets people interested, and we'll get to that point of like, hey, we're not like chasing people, they're actually choosing to work with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that will be step 1, and then step 2 will be story sequences. So short form and like email and stuff, we're going to kind of get back to probably more on the next call. We just have a few more important things to do. That long form asset, just what I mentioned, the YouTube, and then story sequences are just great for when we're looking for hand raisers. So like you mentioned, I want to get some like quick wins. I want things to happen. So something we can do for quick wins is just having like a story sequence set up in a specific way, which will just get us a lot of hand raisers.
Yeah.
So I have a story essentially framework that I'll get you to follow, and that's gonna break down exactly what we need to do to achieve it. Would you use your stories at all for?
Yeah, but not as much as I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But essentially, we want to start with like a hook. So the lazy way of doing it is you just put up saying like I have coaching spaces available, and you just go from there. I'm actually gonna give you a story on it instead. So stories is your stories are actually trying to tell a story, and it's how we can create intrigue, curiosity, and get people to raise their hands.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches are just lazy with it, and they'll just put up like, "Are you interested in coaching?" and leave it with that. And I'll give you a really good example of where I did it, where it made a huge difference. So for the last mastermind in November, it was probably the 4th time I posted about it on my stories, and there's a few tickets left. And if I just did few tickets left, if you're interested, I might have got 10% of the amount of people to raise their hand. But instead, what I did was I just got my golden visa at the time. So I put up, got my golden visa, really proud moment. Next story, the only reason I was able to do this was through investing in property in Dubai. The only way I could do that was through like building a profitable coaching business. If you'd be interested in building a profitable coaching business, this is exactly what we're talking about at the next mastermind. So I hooked them in by talking about the golden visa. I created some intrigue. I then gave them some proof kind of showing what I do. And then I related it back to what they could get off the back of it. So that did really well. And there was people who raised their hand for that who never did previously. So it just shows it's not just about the coaching or the service or what you have. It's the story that you tell.
Stories are so powerful, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just the last one, which we kind of spoke about already, would be just the DMs side of things. So I'm going to help you DMs. We're going to get a VA in, and you're going to start doing the conversations. I have a few trainings for you on that. I also have the custom GBT. So we'll get working on that. And then we'll get looking for a coach hire as well. So if I was to give you a recap on this, we're getting very clear on our numbers. We're making sure we're getting ROI, building momentum straight away. Before we just start shooting content and moving forward things, let's actually get clear on your message and really command that. So that's going to give you so much conviction in everything that you do moving forward. You have a big audience now, so there's going to be low-hanging fruit there. So let's capitalize on it with stories as we're working on this. You have so much untapped potential, never doing DMs before. So we're going to work on that. We're going to get you actually being good at it before we just hire someone and say like, try your best, do what you want. But we will get a VA in to do the outbound because this will just ensure it becomes a non-negotiable for you. And we'll just start the coaching search process.
That's sick.
How does that look?
Right, mate.
Yeah?
I love it.
Alright, sick.
Genuinely, man. That's sick, mate. It's just, mate, for the first time, like, I actually just feel excited, mate.
Yeah. Anything, obviously, as I said, there's a few things I'll be talking through more specifically, but just from everything there, is there any more questions?
Nah, honestly, it's all broken down so well. And there wasn't any points where I was like, because normally I would just like nod my head. I genuinely understood everything that was broke down. Nah, you broke it down well. You done well, mate.
Yeah, sick. Okay, I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm buzzing, mate. Oh, what up, man?
Yeah, sick.